From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. A deal is happening and could be revealed in the next 24 hours that will send it to a vote by next week. This is huge as your recon is heading to the finish line. Meantime, LA told you, Americans don't know what's in the recon. They don't know it exists. What are Democrats doing to fix the problem right today? The price is right. Where will the recon land? New details suggest it could land anywhere from 1.7 to 2 trillion, but this is great news for you. I'll explain to you why. Programs in, programs out. Climate and college were cut by midday yesterday and were added back in late last night. So what happened? Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven by the weekend. This is great news, and who it could be for? It could be for you. Meantime, a COLA raise is coming in the next few days, and minutes ago, a number one legislator says fifth stimulus should heat up right away, right after we're done with this. This is the first update we've had about fifth stimulus in several weeks. I'm very excited for you. And then we look back on the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel. We see where we've learned about ourselves and what we've learned about each other. We're going to have a big message as this channel approaches a big 1.5 year anniversary this Sunday, already passing 140 million views. It's a big afternoon, and I'm excited for you here because the recon is right at the edge of the finish line. I have all the incredible details starting right here, right now, as a big Afternoons LA gets underway. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I hope the weather is good where you are. A deal's happening. It could be revealed by the end of Friday. Legislators say that the recon is nearly done. I'll have the latest details of what's in, what's out on Afternoons right now. LA told you so. Americans didn't know a recon exists, let alone know what's in there. I'm going to show you why you're ahead of the ball game and why you're going to pounce as a Purple Hawk. And then the price is right. 1.5 to 2 trillion. It's where it's going to land. And this is great news for you because it's going to give you programs about 3 to 5 years, all the latest details. But which programs are in and which programs are out? It's changing by the hour. When climate and college were cut by midday yesterday, they were added back in minutes later. What went on? Student loan debt forgiveness could be coming separate from the recon, and this could have another round this week. What about COLA and what about fifth stimulus? The first update from fifth stimulus we've heard in nearly 3 weeks. It came from a number one legislator, says get it done. Let's start it right after we're done with this one. And then the LA anniversary as we look into this weekend. 1.5 years back and 1.5 years going forward. 140 million views. What have we learned about ourselves, our community, and our families, and our nation as a whole because of this channel? I got the retrospective and the forward-looking statements in this recording, and this is LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family because Americans don't know the recon exists. They don't know what's in there. But you do, and that is the difference because you're viewing this channel. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to this recon that has money for all Americans across the board, money for seniors, money for children, money for people who have kids, money for people who don't have kids, workers, unemployed people, young people, old people, red states and blue states. It's all for you. And the average payout that viewers will likely see from this recon when we're all done with everything is about $15,000. As soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get all these monies in your hand. It's so far divided between 3 clusters of checks passed and some items being removed and 3 add-ons. I'm going to go over each of them one at a time and give you the latest update right now on Afternoons LA as to what's in and what's out. It could certainly change in the next hour and a half by evenings. Here we go. Hazard pay, first cluster of checks in there, and 4,000 of the elder care. They're both staying on there, thank goodness. Well, they got that earned income tax credit broad and an increase in the amount of money. So those essential workers get more money across the board. board. They got $4,000 of elder care in there per year. Huge. These are all annual numbers, by the way. They got $4,000 annualized also for caring for young children. They got big money for college students, grants directly to them to the university, and also the Pell's grant made tax-free. They got money for children, the child tax credit, broaden the eligibility and increase the amount of money. That is a big question mark, however, how much it is. And this is where things are changing. The CTC was supposed to be 18 years, then it got to shut down to 5 years yesterday by midday. By evenings, LA, and certainly by now, it looks like the CTC may be 1 year. Big difference of $51,000 versus $3,000. $300 a month every month for up to 1 year. That is the child tax credit, substantially sliced. Then they got in their home repair, still in there. More important than anything else, you got to have that home looking nice. In that low-income community, yes, free money to repair the home. Then they got free money for bikes, cars, and trucks. How much money? Let's go over all the details. All U.S. auto manufactured. 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. And by the way, they're very cheap on some of the online sites. So it's really great thing. $7,500 for the purchase price of a new electric car, personal use, a little bit more for business use. And that is the first cluster of checks passed, with so far all those checks staying in there, but the CTC getting substantially reduced. Now let's turn into the first add-on of checks across the board. And what are those first add-on checks? The ones that come from Maxine Waters of $25,000 for the purchase price of a new home. Do we have any update about this just yet? We do not. We do have an update about Maxine Waters' push to keep $250 billion in the recon, or $200 billion approximately, for housing, like rental. Big battle over this to keep it in. Not very clear. Maxine Waters is not going to cave in anytime soon. But this one is for the purchase price of a new home. $25,000 for the purchase price of a new home. First-time home buyer. Maxine Waters wants that in there. We're going to watch that and see if it gets in there. Now let's turn to the second cluster checks. And this one actually has one that has literally been figuratively removed and then reinserted within hours. Boy, this is a very fluid situation. That's why you watch this channel. And we have another provision in this second cluster passed and now in jeopardy. Well, expansion of home, family, medical, and paid leave. $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. If you make $15,000 a year, that would be $400 a week. Child care credits, household tax credits, Medicare benefits, and then pre-kindergarten, totally free, tuition-free community college, and then money in there to weatherize your home. The home stuff is just surviving. It's just surviving because, you have to weatherize the bill as well. The weatherizing your home money for all communities, not just low income, still staying in there, which is definitely needed, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and wherever possible, keep the moderate Democrats out of the Senate. So which provisions in, out, which provisions in jeopardy? Here we go. Paid family medical leave in jeopardy. Nancy Pelosi addressed the subject matter saying, I have changed more diapers than anyone else, so I know how important this is. And I was in the live chat last night, and I just made a joke. I said, diaper care. Oh my God, people took it as seriously. That diaper care, where's that provision? I would get a lot of money for diaper care. No, it was a joke. I was referring to this one, because Nancy said she's changed a lot of diapers. I said diaper care. No, there is no provision about diaper care. It's the Pelosi remark. Next. I know every time I say something, it just causes a domino effect. Tuition-free community college. This caused like a tsunami of comments yesterday because it was out. It was out. It was told to us by Jalopal on the record. It was out. And then by the end of the day, after Pelosi had heard from this channel or heard from someone else, she said, no, who said it's out? It's back in. It's like that scene in that mafia movie. They try to take me out, but then I pull me back in. Now it's for community college. There you go. That is the second cluster of checks. Very fluid. Nothing physically removed just yet. Let's go to that second add-on. It comes from Bob Casey. No big update about this one. And I'm very interested to see what's going on with Bob Casey because he is a great guy. $250 billion he wants for you, for my seniors, and also for my disability people. It's a great provision. It's home health care. He sees a big problem. You can't afford it. Can't afford it. So what are you doing? You're having your son and daughter quit work to stay home to take care of you. It's a double whammy, a double negative. So he's trying to solve two problems with one solution. free home health care. Makes totally sense. Big money to the state and local so they can give you a licensed professional to come to your home, senior and disability person, and that's home health care totally free. And then your son and daughter can go back in the workforce and make money for themselves and their families and alleviate labor shortage. No update about whether it's in or out about that yet. I'm watching it. And let's go to the third cluster checks. In this one, we have one that is out. I was the first person to tell you is out, and it was confirmed yesterday as really stayed out. So it's definitely out. And then I have one provision that is under fire as well. So here we go. Third cluster checks pass. And these are items that were passed in that subcommittee. That's what I'm saying pass. I mean, they're in the subcommittee. Everyone agreed to it. But we're in negotiations and anything can happen. The free school meals for all checks still staying in there. Cheaper prescription medication. The language may likely be changed because of Kristen Sinema, but still staying in there. Money for farmers, staying in there. Free internet, staying in there. Clean energy, I'm coming back to you. You know why. And money for workers, independent contractors, staying in there. Medicare, checks for dental, vision, and hearing care, and lowering the eligibility age on Medicare. First, let's go to the last part of that sentence. Lower the eligibility age of Medicare. My sources tell me that Bob Casey is looking to drop it from 65 to 60. He is the wonderful 61-year-old Democrat from Pennsylvania. No update on whether he's getting it done. But I do have an update about dental, vision, and hearing care. This is a big one for Bernie Sanders. One of the number one items on his list. It's under fire. The president's made concessions. He's talking about vouchers, maybe 2 years. Bernie Sanders is fuming angry about this one. He wants it in there. It's under fire. One provision out, staying out. No one's worried about it. Clean energy, the major parts of clean energy. Does not mean that all climate is out, because I caused some confusion about that yesterday. There's a clean energy provision in there. I'm going to address it later in this video. It was removed last year to bring Joe Manchin to the table, and boy, whoever came up with this idea at the White House really got everything rolling. Taking that provision out, got Joe Manchin on the table. You're going to see in a second, Joe Manchin has been absolutely nirvana, paradise since Monday. Kristen Sinema, not so much. And that was the provision that got Joe Manchin absolutely getting moving. And we're going to get this done because of that provision coming out. Now let's go to the third add-on. And the third add-on is the one which you're looking at, which is those MSCs, monthly IRS stimulus checks. Remember, so far in those clusters of checks, we've gone over the three clusters, it pays you about $15,000. But what about the MSCs on top of that? Well, it's important to understand, one, the process, two, the representations, and three, the advocacy. The process, very, very fluid situation. While I'm saying that they could have a deal by Friday, that does not mean it is etched in stone. What legislators are trying to do is try to get a formative deal of what they're going to do to modify the recon that is currently in the subcommittee. That subcommittee is not a bill, it's a package, and they want to modify it so then they get an agreement upon what it is. Write it up, get it ready for a vote by next week. Introduce it to the House bill. If something is still not in there, they can call a amendment to the House bill before a vote. This is after bill before a vote, meaning it's not in the bill, it's in and it's proposed as a change before they voted on it. Representative Omar's office told a viewer 2 days ago that AOC, Pelosi, and Omar will be adding that provision for that monthly stimulus check after the vote, after the bill, but before the vote. We've heard this before. We've heard this several times. We've heard nearly thousands of representations from these legislators. They would do it at that step on the House side. And that's certainly what Maxine Waters would try to do with her provision, and Bob Casey, well, he's a senator, so he can't do it. You have to have a House member do it. But the big one, of course, is the two-day vote-a-rama at the very end. That's on the Senate side. The Senate gets whatever passes in the House, and the senators can change things. If you've been with this channel since the very beginning, you know those senators really change a lot. They change things dramatically. They change provisions by the amount. They add provisions in there, and they do big things. For example, the student loan debt forgiveness, it was added by the senators. The House members didn't even have it in there, making it, because remember, if you forgive student loan debt, normally the forgiveness would be taxable. It would be a taxable event. So you would have to pay taxes when the federal government forgave your student loan debt. Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer slid it in on the Senate side. It didn't come from the House. It came from that's an example of why the vote-a-rama is such an important process in the American government. So Chuck Schumer says he's going to put in a monthly stimulus check in there. He says it to Debbie Applegate 2 weeks ago. He tells it to Donnie's wife the week before that. He tells it to a viewer last week. We have Casey, Coons, Warren, Sanders, Schumer, all representing to thousands of viewers over several months. They're going to put it in there. And that is the 2-day vote-a-rama at the very end. But you cannot step back because, as I've been saying over the last, I think it was day and a half, the next 24 hours are just so critical. And the message was delivered to me a week ago that said, get ready for these final minutes because you have to advocate. You have to advocate before we have the House bill. We have to advocate after we have the House bill because it's not a done deal after we have a House bill, and it's not a done deal before we have a House bill. Here's the message from the number one senator in the equation, senator. So this would be on the Senate vote-a-rama, but he's telling you to step up now on the House side. This is what the message says. They now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LALATE Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LALATE viewers. Now they have a better understanding of what's been called, as Americans are getting through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories from the LALATE viewers, and they have the voice of the people across the nation in you, LALATE, who have become too loud to be ignored. Wow, very, very kind. Let's read the last sentence together on air as a family. The last sentence says the following. Please continue your encouragement for your viewers, for the continued advocacy, as you are the professional voice of the people you have become, LALATE. And push until this becomes law. Amen. Very, very kind. But also important message for us. Have to push before we have a House bill. Have to push after we have a House bill. Have to push before we have a vote-a-rama. Have to push while we're in a vote-a-rama. Because situation is very fluid. And you saw yesterday, viewers just losing it when I told them climate and college was out, and then 2 hours later, it was back in. This is how fluid the situation is. Everything changes by the minute. In the second half of this video, I have the latest update of what's in and what's out. It's a big twist, and I have every item. I'm going to go one at a time, show you where the items have been changed, how they've been changed, which items are out, which ones are in, the durational changes across the board. We got a lot coming up in the second half of this video. We also have our first update about fifth stimulus in several weeks. I'm very excited for you. It's all coming up in a supersized afternoon to LALATE. Get ready for information overload. Here we go. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as we go into a big afternoon to LALATE as a deal is happening. The deal could be released as early as tomorrow. I have the latest details that are happening on afternoons. Then we go to the big exciting details as Americans are confused what's in the recon. Not so much for you, what went wrong with the Democrats. Democrats have had problems explaining to the American people what is in the recon. And we're going to go over what a new CBS poll says that Americans don't even know the recon exists. The price is right. 1.7 to 2 trillion is where the recon will land. It's great news for you because it's big money across the board. Then we'll be turning to the big money that comes thereafter as a big push to take programs out, backfires, and they go back in. Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. And when would it be and how much would it be? Then, fifth stimulus gets its first update in several weeks. I have the latest comments from a legislator says, get ready to do fifth stimulus, and we have a date on it as well. The LALATE 1.5 year anniversary, we look back on the first year and a half of this channel. and what it tells us about ourselves, our community, and our families. We learn about what we need to do as a person, how information puts us apart from everyone else, and how becoming information guided helps put money in our pockets, how information is king, and how we've learned as a family that the more you know, the better you are across the board. We have those details and more as we go into a big second half of this video as I jump on top of a graphic. And this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family at 140 million views. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is the big overnight's crypto, and then we go into evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock. It'll be the latest update. You don't want to miss it because, boy, the last 2 days, it has been a totally different show than Afternoons LALATE, and you're going to see why in a second. Let's turn to the big exciting details as the president is trying to get that recon done. And that recon done deal could be as early as tomorrow. What's going on? I have the latest details starting right now. Insiders now believe that a recon deal will likely be reached as early as Friday. This was the timeline that Democrats had put for themselves, or what they call milestone. Not a deadline, but just sort of a guidance. And so far, Nancy Pelosi says they have met all their timelines going up into this milestone. When it turns to Jalopal, she doesn't want to give a deadline for anything, but she says we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done, Jalopal says, and it's a messy process. Democracy is not easy, and negotiations is not easy at all. You may credit Jalopal, you may credit removing clean energy, but something changed with Joe Manchin this last Monday. Everything started turning up roses. Jalopal met with Joe Manchin on Monday, and she said it was a great time to spend with him. The first time she met with him since the recon negotiations started. It was the first business day after I had reported that the key provision that was a non-starter, a deal breaker, a block wall for Joe Manchin was removed by the president and kept out. And then the ball started rolling. I got to tell you, I've never seen positivity from Joe Manchin in no less than 4 months as I've seen in the last 4 days. It's incredible, great news. There are differences. Everybody knows there are differences. It's just Jalopal. We bridge them and come together because at the end of the day, we have to deliver both of these bills, the infrastructure and the Build Back Better Act, the recon, to the president's desk together. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, the first guy to ever say that he would insert a monthly stimulus check to WR, a longtime viewer of this channel, says we got to get this done. We're getting it done. We're getting close. The gaps are closing. The vibe of the caucus is different. It's people very clear-eyed. It is different. If you've been with this channel, I can tell you I see it totally different since Monday. The big change was really about a week ago, where Bernie Sanders, the president, and myself were saying the moderate Democrats need to tell us what they want. They need to tell us what we want. And who are they? Chris and Sinema and Joe Manchin. And somewhere along the line, Joe Manchin said, I don't like that clean energy, take it out. The president took it out last week, and that changed everything. Then he met with Jalopal. She started getting him to talk. It changed everything. Now he's saying what he doesn't like. They're taking it out. It's getting it done. The vibe is totally good. With Chris and Sinema, her vibe is not good still with the taxes, not the money on the front end, but the taxes. I have more about that later in this video. So Chris Coons says, he says the vibe is totally different. It is totally different. Then he also says the reason why it's important to get it done is because December is a mess, and it is a mess. If you've been with this channel last year, December is not a month to do legislation. John Tester says, I think there's a lot happening, and we're getting to a point where we can move very quickly. He's the Democrat from Montana. Coons is the Democrat from Delaware. Well, we now know why the reaction to you, myself, and the videos has been how it has been over the last few months. There is always someone who jumps in the live chat who says, I haven't heard this in print media. I haven't heard this in print media. I haven't heard this in broadcast media. Why is no one talking about this? I've never seen this. I've never heard about this. Guess what? A new CBS poll released on Monday says 90% of Americans don't even know the recon exists. 90% of Americans, that means 9 out of 10 people, both Republican and Democrats, don't know the recon even exists. And of the 10% that know the recon exists, they can't even tell you what's in there. They know of it, but they don't know what it's about. This is why you and I and the Purple Power have really stepped up. As one viewer, Yaya, said in one of the live comments last night, she said, there's the unpurple people. I love that expression. The unpurple people, the people who have no idea what's going on. So this has been a big problem. And what is the problem? Not my problem. Not your problem. It's the Democrats. Dick Durbin, Democrat out of Illinois, was asked about the CBS poll, specifically, straight on. And he said, I don't doubt it. I think it's the Democrats' fault. We have undersold the recon, and we've underperformed it for too long, and now we have a chance to close it the right way, hopefully. Absolutely. The price is right. Where will the recon land? It will not land at $3.5 trillion. Doesn't concern you, doesn't concern me. It'll land somewhere between 1.7 to 2 trillion. This is all great news. Let me go over the broad stroke of the math for you right now so you understand that this is good. Anything above 1.6 is good for you, is actually great for you. I'll tell you why. In this we currently have a $3.5 trillion recon. I've been exclusively reporting for several weeks that the $3.5 trillion recon means programs for 10 years. We don't need programs for 10 years. We just need programs at least this year, next year, and the year after that, at least 3 years of programs. If you give us 5 years of programs, that's great. So 10 years, 3.5. Cut it in half. What's half of 3.5? 1.7, 5 years. If we get 1.7 or more, we're good. We don't even need 5 years. 4 years is fine for us, at least at the moment. And that is why all these numbers, 1.7, 1.9, 2 trillion, are all good for you. Where is the $2 trillion number coming? It's coming from the president. The president told his Democrat caucus 2 days ago, do 2 trillion. The moderate Democrats said 1.7 trillion. But the moderate Democrats also said, I will go to 1.9. After 1.9, my nose starts to bleed. I feel sticker shock. So anything above 1.9, the moderate Democrats won't do, but they will go to 1.9. Doesn't really concern you so long as we're in the 1.7 to 2. So what's important to understand that's sort of new for Afternoons LA is that we now see, based upon the negotiations late last night, that the programs won't all be at the same time duration. So I'm giving it to you sort of generalized, where I say 10 years to 5 years. It doesn't mean everything's going to be 5 years. Some things could be at 1 year and other things could be 6 years. So it just averages out generally that way. Debbie Dingell says the president has been very decisive. He's showing leadership on getting us to a price tag. It's all about getting it done. And Patty Murray says, we see the timeline. There's consensus, real consensus. We're going to get it done this time. What's going in the bill is shortly smaller than before. And Steny Hoyer, who's the majority leader in the House, who determines when things are called for a vote, he says we're working very hard on both of these bills to get them passed by our deadline. And we see all the timeline, and we believe there's success coming on forward. Part of the process to get that recon to a price tag involves taking programs in and putting programs back out. What's going on? Oh, it's a hot mess. Get that pen and paper ready if you want to follow along with notes. One of your, actually every viewer, in Evenings After LALATE last night on Evenings said it's information overload. So if you've not been short-circuiting your brain yet, get ready for your brain to short-circuit right now, because here comes a lot of information. Climate and college out by midday, in by evenings last night. Democrats are getting more specific about the situation. What definitely is out? The clean energy, one of the climate provisions for Joe Manchin. It was removed last week. It's staying out. That is the deal item that was really brought Joe Manchin to the table. Jalapal told us that as to higher education, something will be in there, but it won't be free community college. She's the progressive who wants free community college in there. She said it was out. Then came back Pelosi and said, no, who said it's out? It's still in there. Pelosi said, news to me, late last night. Thank you for watching the show, Nancy. I appreciate it. She said, when asked whether community college was taken out, as recorded by LA, she said, that's not a decision. That's just his purple and his monolith. No, she said that's not a decision. So that's one of the few times that Nancy does not agree with Jalapal there. Then what is going on with the timeline? What's going on with the big cuts? So Senator Ben Cardin says there could be more big cuts. The anticipation of some deep cuts are coming. There have been meetings with Ron Wyden and White House officials, and they're trying to find the sweet spot. Chuck Schumer says everyone's trying to get to compromise. We're going to try to find out the legislative sweet spot. We're going to get closer to agreement. We want to finalize a deal by the end of the week, but we all must keep moving together. And then Majority Leader Steny Hoyer on the House side said much the same thing. I think members are in a position where they want to get something done, and they understand you got to get everybody in the tent, because then we have a very close margins. Nancy Pelosi says we're on schedule. We're continuing to be on schedule. We have a goal and we have milestones, and we're keeping every milestone along the way in our timeline, and we'll likely reach our goal But then when asked about paid leave and paid medical leave, which is the second cluster checks, she said, it's staying in there because I've changed more diapers than anyone in this room. And again, when I said diaper stimulus, it was a joke. There's no stimulus checks for diapers. It was a joke about Nancy's thing. There you go. So what's going in, what's coming out? Get that pen and paper ready. You're ready for it's just like fantasy football, but just for stimulus. Okay, who scored today and who didn't score? Child care tax credits. Not staying at 18 years, not staying at 10 years, staying at 5 years, not likely either. There is now a provision that there's now a push to reduce childcare credits down to 1 year. Totally different to get $3,000 than $51,000, but it's better than nothing. Then Medicare expansion. And Obama subsidies still in there, but one of the big battlegrounds is the dental vision hearing from the third cluster passed, but now under jeopardy. Who is fighting angry about it, as you would expect? Bernie Sanders. He wants those in there. Biden is proposing vouchers and proposing maybe just doing them for 3 years. Bernie says, no, I want them lifetime and I don't want vouchers. I want it as real money. Then also becoming big issue is the paid family leave and climate as paid family leave provision, as I just told you before. A lot of people want it out. Nancy Pelosi says not coming out. Clean energy and climate. Climate will have something in there. So some viewers just were losing it last night thinking that all climate's coming out. No, the clean energy, which is really the clean electricity performance program, which you just all know about. I don't know what the hell that thing is, would still stay in there, and it would, would still stay out of there. And that was the provision that was a non-starter for Joe Biden. But the rest of climate is very fluid. The situation is very fluid for the rest of climate. Then state and local tax deductions going out. That's salt. That is likely not staying in there. And tuition-free community college, 2 years of it, 1 year of it, no years of it, very fluid. It was supposed to be lifetime, then it was supposed to be 2 years yesterday, then Nancy said it's back in. At the moment, it's likely not to be more than 2 years, but it's somewhere between not at all or up to 2 years. Very fluid. Sinema and her secrets. She's really making people angry. And they are included Veronica Escobar, Democrat from Texas. Does not like Sinema. Why? Because Sinema is not telling people what she doesn't like on the taxes. That's the backup, what's used to pay for the recon. Remember, you're raising corporate taxes and rich person's taxes, wealth taxes. And this is what Escobar said lately yesterday. It's a guessing game with Senator Sinema, and yes, we're all supposed to be on the same team. And that means transparency, communication, collaboration, and we don't know what the red lines are for one U.S. senator who has an enormous amount of power. Then Jalopal says we're no intention of backing down. There you go. So what's important to understand is that I really see incredible progress across the board. I see nothing bad at the moment. I see nothing of negativity. I do see that Sinema residue that is causing a question across the board. But so far, the process is very fluid. So you need to advocate across the board. And you really need to watch every video, every single, you have to watch afternoons, evenings, mornings, and early mornings at least on this channel because the situation's changing by the minute. Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven by the weekend. Which student loan debt is it and how this is done? It's not part of the recon. It would be by executive order. The president forgave student loan debts several weeks ago for people who became disabled after graduation. All your student loan debts forgiven. Then the president last week forgave 2 more rounds of student loan debts. Which were they? Let's go over all the details. The president forgave student loan debts for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. Huge. Then the president forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the public sector for 10 years after graduation just a few days ago. This is for people who went to go work for the city, the county, the state, the federal government at least 10 years after graduation. You're a public school teacher, you're a sanitation driver, you're a public works official. Yes, all your debts are forgiven. It makes sense. You don't make a lot of money in some of those jobs and you don't make enough money to pay off the student loan debt. Your debts are forgiven. One viewer had a brilliant question yesterday. How do I get the debts forgiven? The debts are between you and the lender, but the order comes from the federal government. So it has nothing to do with your employer. The employer is not part of the equation. So you will have to have proof of employment. So get your pay stubs ready and proof that you've been employed in the last 10 years. But the order would likely come from the federal government. Reach out to Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor, because they will give you guidance on that. Great question, though. And I will track that issue, see if I learn more. Cola. Cola is going up. Your cola raise will be 5 to 6% for next year, but that's not your only lift. You're going to get 2 lifts after that. It's fifth stimulus. And for the first time in several weeks on this channel, I have an update about fifth stimulus. First, let's go over the details. Department of Social Security Administration announced that your COLA benefits will be somewhere between 5 to 6% lift up next year. It's not just next year, it's lifetime. Because remember, once your benefits go up, they never go down. So if you get a lift of 6% starting next year, that means that that will be your new price point going forward. The number you're getting paid at now, this year, you'll never see again. You'll never see this lower number again. But get ready, because fifth stimulus comes right after that. What's fifth stimulus? Fifth stimulus is a body of legislation they propose to get done right after recon. And I have details about it in just a second. And it would provide SSI and SSDI, Social Security reform. What does it do? First, it raises everyone's benefits up. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, then it would apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. And inflation is going to be at least 1 to 3% next year. COLA could be 0 again next year. So that means you would get not 1, but 2 more lifts after this step up. Let's go over the details. First, this step up is law. So it's first going to step you up in January. Then, if this becomes law, fifth stimulus, let's say in February or March, you'll get another lift up right after that. And then the benchmark will be applied late next year in December 2022. So you'll get a third benchmark lift as well. They're going to move the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law. Says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now it's going to go away, so you'll be able to have some muddled. Did you call this muddled? No. You'll be able to have some blue in your hand. You'll be able to get the income cap gone, because that's going away, and you'll be able to work and no longer fear loss of benefits. And the marriage penalty is going to end, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear loss of benefits. Meantime, here comes your first update about fifth stimulus in many weeks. There's a new report out and a series of quotes today about Democrats salivating to do fifth stimulus starting next year. Why? They think that fourth stimulus is going to get done in the next few days, and they think that fifth stimulus is perfect to get set up next year, pass, and have the Republicans oppose it with items like this that are so good for both red and blue states across the board, because everyone likes their benefits raised, whether you're red or blue states, and have the Republicans oppose it, and have that go right into the midterm elections. They're thinking of using fifth stimulus as a big winner for the Democrats before the midterms. House Budget Chairman John Yarmuth, who's Democrat from Kentucky, is actually retiring, but he thinks that fifth stimulus, which, by the way, would be the third stimulus under Joe Biden, but I call it fifth stimulus because we've been covering them since the beginning, would be a big opportunity to do right before the midterm elections. He has spoken with Nancy Pelosi about doing this, and that this would be not only good for the American people, but great for the Democrats before the midterm elections, and Pelosi loves it. Force Republicans, this is a quote from Yarmuth, force Republicans to vote against it, like Medicare expansion, or child care, or senior care, depending on what we decide to put in this package. He's like, force the Republicans to vote against it. I don't see where there's a downside in an election year because we'd be trying to do things that are very popular. Absolutely. There's not a single person who wouldn't want their benefits increased, whether you're in a red state or blue state. But some Democrats are sort of a brain overload. It's just information overload. They've been watching my channel. They say one thing at a time, says Brandon Schatz. John Tester says, that's just too much at the moment. Ron Wyden, we have a lot of things to do at the moment. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of work. You're a senator. There we go. Let's turn to the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel. In the last year and a half, this channel has learned a lot about ourselves. You've learned a lot about ourselves. And we've learned a lot about other people as well. This channel has amassed 140 million views, just a few, in the last year and a half. As we approach the 1.5 year anniversary this Sunday, every video throughout this week, I've been looking back on things that I've learned about ourselves and what you've learned as well. One of the things I've learned, which has been very important over the last year and a half, is to just be your own person. Be your own person. Don't have anyone else tell you what to do or how to do it or where to do it or when to do it or what to do it. And it was sort of an example manifested during the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, which is a very complicated process. And if you went out to one of the lenders and they said, no, we don't do it for that, you would have had to have known to ask them, well, is it because you just don't do this ever? Or you're just one of the lenders, you just don't do my type of business. Oh, I just don't do your type of business. There you go. It's in this last year and a half that we've learned that sometimes there's something for you, but it's not always in the same place. We've talked about a lot how when we look out for rent and utilities, sometimes you may not qualify for at the city and county level, but it's somewhere else with the nonprofits. What we've learned over the last year and a half is that just because one no for something is out there, it doesn't mean there's not a yes for you somewhere else. Whether it's for rent or utilities or food, whether it's for a business grant or a business loan, one no in one place may mean a yes in another place. And it may be as simple as a different phone call. It may be as simple as a different phone call in the same department. In 2020, I made a lot of videos of saying, if you got a person on the phone from SBA, the Small Business Administration, who's not very helpful, hang up the phone and call back again. A lot of times people have always thought that one no means close up shop. And one of the things I've shown viewers over the last year, as which I guess would become the purple power push, is to never accept no is the fate if you think it's really a yes. Ultimately, you're the best gauge of what's a yes. If you hear that you qualify for rent, but you reach out to one place and they say no, and you're like, I think I really do qualify for it, there must be something wrong here. Then there probably is something wrong. When you look at the third stimulus recon and you look at all the big money that people are getting at $40,000 and you haven't got to that money, then you realize there's something wrong here. I need to do something. We've learned that ultimately your gut reaction is one of your best sources. What you feel deep down downside that you think maybe, yes, you qualify for you. Yes, you do is usually the best indicator. That's why positivity has been a big issue on this channel. A person who just comes into the equation and says, no, 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 never really makes the effort to find the yes because they're just looking for the first no. Here's an example. If all you ever say is no, 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 you pick up the phone and say, hi, I want to ask for, no, sir. Okay, I'm done. They said no. So it's exactly what I was saying. It's just no. But if you really deep down believe in your heart that you've gone through the analysis, you're informed, you know what things are, and you feel that you are qualified for that thing, whether it's stimulus, whether it's a job application, where it's meeting your potential love partner for life, I do believe that person's out there. I do believe that job is out there. If you really believe it's there, you'll find it. You'll absolutely find it. Because ultimately, information is what guides you, and also that inner reaction. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. It'll also help you guide you to understand what you're entitled to. The membership newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from me. It shows you how to get big sums of money under third stimulus. Third stimulus, which I wasn't able to cover in this video because we're running along on time, has money for rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance. It's all covered in that newsletter. Viewers of Cheryl getting upwards of $40,000. It also has the nonprofits, the 5 nonprofits, United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, who are paying not only for those items, but also for appliances, clothing, homeless people into shelters, small home repairs. Consider becoming a member so you get that newsletter daily. It's delivered from the YouTube alert system and the LA alert system, which is totally free. It's also in the description to get that LA alert system and news.la.com/alerts. Consider becoming a member today to get those big sums of money under third stimulus, upwards of $40,000 the average viewer has gotten from third stimulus. And when fourth stimulus becomes law, I'll be here to show you how to get all the sums of money as well. We got a big 9-up of shows tonight. Join me next on Evenings LA because as you've seen over the last 3 days this week, the Evenings LA broadcast has been totally different than the afternoon's broadcast. It's just how fluid the situation is. Climate out, climate in. Community college out, community college in. Paid leave, maybe going out. Nancy Pelosi saying, I've changed a lot of diapers. Me saying, it's diaper stimulus. People saying, I get money for diapers? No. Sometimes I can't just make a joke. There you go. And with that, join me. And hopefully I did not short circuit you with too much information in this video as well. And with that, join me next. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers to YouTube Rocket. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next on Evenings LALATE. If you need to learn more about third stimulus, watch the videos earlier on today's video. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful afternoon, and stay with LA for more.